Key principles of the Law of One. 1. Treat life as a game of conscious evolution. The Law of One describes our path as both a game with simple rules and a cosmic school with a structured curriculum. Both images point to the same truth. Reality is a learning environment where your orientation, intention, and choices determine your trajectory. When you understand the rules, you stop living reactively and begin navigating with intelligence and purpose. This perspective brings empowerment, clarity, and a sense of meaningful participation in your own evolution. 2. Creation is a single field of love navigated by free will. The foundation of the game is unity. All beings, forms, and experiences arise from one living field whose nature is unconditional love. What appears solid is actually vibration, light, and patterned energy. Within this illusion, each of us functions as a player who moves across the game board by choice. Free will is absolute. No matter what arrives in our lives, we retain the power to decide how we respond. This sovereignty is the essence of the game of life, for it allows consciousness to evolve through intentional choices made inside a world that only seems separate. 3. Polarization is the power behind awakening. Earth's learning environment operates through polarity. The two currents are service to others and service to self. Every player must choose which current to follow, because only through repeated choices does spiritual momentum build. Each act of service to others increases positive polarity, just as each act of manipulation increases negative polarity. The Law of One likens this to achieving escape velocity. Without sufficient polarity, we remain within the gravity of the illusion. With consistent choices, we rise into higher levels of awareness. 4. Mind and consciousness are your twin guides. As incarnated beings, we have physical brains that manage worldly functioning and deeper consciousness that registers intuitive, spiritual, and energetic perception. Conscious players learn to use both. The mind analyzes patterns. Consciousness expands perspective. Together, they allow us to sharpen our discernment so that each daily decision becomes more aligned with our chosen polarity. This refinement of perception is one of the most subtle and important tools for progress on life's game board. 5. Each spiritual path is personal and unique. The Law of One views every spiritual path, from mystical Christianity to literal Buddhism, as a personal myth rather than an absolute truth. Each of us is a soul stream moving through many incarnations across thousands of years, developing talents, lessons, and service. Earth becomes a brief stage in a far wider curriculum that spans densities and lifetimes. Myth then becomes the bridge between the known world and the mystery of eternity, a living arc that stirs a deeper aliveness in the seeker. Religion grows rigid when it claims exclusive truth, while myth remains fluid, intimate, and transformative. When we cross into mystery through our chosen myth, we enter an inner world that restores vitality rather than spiritual deadness. 6. Approach all wisdom as maps, not destinations. The Law of One's view of reality is not offered as a superior religion, but as a philosophical framework that helps seekers understand who they are and why they are here. Its perspective integrates the idea of an infinite creator with reincarnation, soul evolution across vast periods of time, and the existence of human-like beings on many worlds. Rather than confining the drama of the soul to a single lifetime, it presents a universe where Earth is one classroom among countless others, and where we are currently in the 3rd grade of a 7-density school of spiritual development. This widens the horizon of human experience without demanding anyone replace their current beliefs. 7. Beliefs are lenses, not final truths. Belief systems in the law of one are understood as structures that help the mind engage with metaphysical truth. They are not ultimate truth, but lenses through which the inner world becomes accessible. If a specific belief system helps us enter the sacred more fully, then it is the right one for us. The law of one never asks anyone to abandon their religion. Instead, it honors every sincere framework as a valid pathway into the archetypal mind. Whether through Christianity, Buddhism, or a private practice, the outer form matters far less than the inner surrender to the Creator within. Worship becomes a daily turning of the heart toward love, gratitude, and awareness, training the mind to live from devotion rather than fear. Religion at its best provides a vessel for this surrender, yet the essence of the journey remains entirely internal. 8. Inner resonance over outer authority. Many spiritual ideas such as reincarnation, unity and karma often become trapped inside religious or New Age branding, which makes them feel heavy or ideological. The law of one invites us to remove the dogma so these concepts can be considered clearly and personally. Without labels, they reveal a coherent picture of how consciousness evolves, how souls learn across lifetimes, and how universal patterns operate. This clarity matters because many people today find that established religions no longer match their deeper nature. When outer systems fail to resonate, we must listen inwardly and follow the path that awakens truth within us. For some, this may still be a traditional church, for others a foreign religion, and for many a personal spiritual practice. The law of one honors all of these approaches, since freeing these ideas from emotional baggage allows them to serve genuine seeking rather than become slogans. Ultimately, what matters is not conformity, but authenticity, not obedience, but alignment with the Creator's love at the center of one's being. 9. Seek truth everywhere, not only in holy places. The law of one suggests that the universe speaks constantly to the seeking heart through synchronicities, signs, conversations, dreams, and symbols. Worship is not confined to temples or churches, but woven into the fabric of daily life. Every moment becomes an invitation to listen, notice resonance, and recognize the presence of spirit. When the desire for truth is strong, people, situations, and opportunities are drawn into your life as if the universe were responding to your inner call. 10. Reorient each day toward love through practice. The purpose of spiritual practice is to shift from habits based in fear to habits based in love, transforming careless living into conscious stewardship of one's finite incarnation. Simple acts like praying at the beginning and end of the day help reorient the mind toward the Creator. This steady devotion creates a life shaped by sacred awareness rather than cultural conditioning. All societies on earth, across all of history, have felt the instinct to worship something greater. This impulse is not outdated. It is deeply human. 11. Build discipline, so your life becomes a sacred practice. The work of meditation, prayer, journaling, and intentional awareness forms the discipline of the personality. As we deepen these practices, the entire world becomes sacred space. Every action becomes potentially magical. Intent becomes creative power. Consciousness expands. We learn to direct our inner state and align our being with the light we seek to embody. This discipline stabilizes the higher chakras and strengthens our ability to hold elevated states of awareness. When the entire system is clear, protected, and aligned, we become a conduit for the Creator's energy, serving others with wisdom and love. 12. The world is awakening into greater consciousness. The Law of One describes Earth as moving through a laboring process, a collective transition into a more spiritually oriented age. Each person undergoes a parallel inner birth, becoming more authentic and aligned with unconditional love. Daily choices, doubts, faith and thoughts all help pave the road between ordinary life and the fourth density of expanded love. This new age is not an abstraction. It is a lived transformation unfolding in every seeker willing to grow. The Law of One's framework may feel like a stretch at first, yet once absorbed, it brings coherence and meaning to daily experience. Life begins to appear less random and more like a purposeful environment designed for evolution. Situations that once seemed chaotic start to reveal an underlying order that supports spiritual development. This shift in perspective becomes deeply stabilizing, offering clarity and confidence as you move through ordinary challenges with a widened sense of how things work. 13. The soul moves beyond the body. Death is a transition in consciousness, not an ending. The soul leaves the body gently and continues its journey with full awareness, entering a period of healing, reflection, and preparation for future growth. Across many incarnations in third density, each lifetime becomes part of a curriculum that prepares the soul for graduation into the fourth density of unconditional love. At the moment of death, each person has the opportunity to be harvested by walking the steps of light, moving through increasingly intense levels of love and illumination until they reach the point where they feel naturally aligned. If that point lies beyond the threshold into fourth density, the soul has chosen love as its orientation. If not, it continues its learning in another cycle until it is ready to stand in fuller light. Understanding death as a doorway rather than an annihilation dissolves fear and reveals its role as a natural movement in the soul's unfolding journey.